The failed assassination. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was silent. Hundreds of alien representatives sat in their seats, their eyes fixed on the stage. The air was heavy with tension. Today was a historic moment. The first human diplomat, Ambassador Daniel Reeves, was about to address the council. For centuries, the galaxy had ignored humans, considering them weak and unimportant. But after years of struggle, Earth had finally secured a place in the council. Reeves was here to prove that humanity deserved respect. Dressed in a simple yet elegant black suit, he stepped forward. His eyes scanned the alien delegates, reptilian Drakari, insectoid Selvar, towering Meverans, and many others. Some were curious, some indifferent, and a few held open contempt. Reeves was used to it. He cleared his throat and spoke. Honorable delegates, today is not just about humanity. It is about unity. We stand on the edge of a new era, one where our differences can become our strength. Then it happened. A sharp whistle sliced through the air. A plasma shot, fired from above. Time seemed to slow. Reeves saw the blue energy bolt racing toward him. Then, bang! A crackling blue shield flashed around him as the energy bolt slammed into an invisible barrier. His personal defense system had activated just in time. Gasps and shouts filled the hall. Security alarms blared. Reeves' personal guards, elite human soldiers, rushed to cover him. Alien delegates ducked for cover, some scrambling out of their seats in panic. Up in the high balcony, a shadow moved. Shooter spotted. Someone yelled. The assassin, clad in dark armor, leaped from the balcony, landing with unnatural speed. He sprinted toward an exit. Don't let him escape. Reeves' head of security, Captain Harris, barked. A group of human guards opened fire. Red laser bolts flew across the room, but the assassin was fast. Too fast. He zigzagged, dodging the shots with inhuman precision. Reeves, still standing at the podium, remained unnaturally calm. He adjusted his tie and watched as the assassin disappeared through a doorway. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Some alien leaders shouted in anger. Others accused humans of staging the attack themselves. The Drakari ambassador, a massive lizard-like being, growled, his yellow eyes burning with suspicion. This is an outrage. The council is meant to be a place of peace, he roared. Reeves raised a hand. Silence. Even in the middle of chaos, his voice was steady, cold. An assassination attempt on a human diplomat, inside the Grand Hall. His tone was calm, but every word carried an unspoken threat. Many aliens shifted uncomfortably. The Selvar ambassador, a tall insectoid with spindly arms, clicked its mandibles nervously. This is unfortunate, perhaps a personal matter, a rogue element. Reeves turned his gaze to the Selvar, his blue eyes piercing. Perhaps someone here doesn't want humanity to have a seat at this table. A heavy silence followed. Meanwhile, Captain Harris had his team scanning the area. His wrist communicator beeped. Sir, the assassin escaped into the lower tunnels. We lost him. Harris clenched his jaw. Damn it. Keep searching. I want his face, species, and origins. Now. Reeves didn't react to the bad news. He simply smiled. A smile that made some of the aliens uneasy. Then he stepped closer to the center of the room and spoke one last time. You just made a grave mistake. He turned and walked away, his guards following him. The entire Galactic Council watched in silence, many realizing for the first time, humanity was not weak. And they had just provoked something dangerous. Humanity's response. The Terran Defense Command was never truly at peace. Humanity had learned long ago that the universe was not kind. It did not reward weakness. Even as Earth enjoyed its newfound position in the Galactic Council, there were always silent preparations, because history had taught them that peace was temporary. But this was an act of war. The assassination attempt on Ambassador Daniel Reeves had not just been a simple attack. It had been a message, A warning, perhaps, or an attempt to remove humanity before it gained too much power. Now it was humanity's turn to respond. The call to Earth. In the heart of Luna Base Prime, the headquarters of Terran Defense Command, red warning lights pulsed like a heartbeat. Inside the central command room, massive holoscreens displayed the assassination footage. Every high-ranking officer of the Terran Defense Fleet was present. At the center stood Fleet Admiral Elias Kane, a man who had seen too many wars and trusted too few aliens. His face was stone, his blue-gray eyes locked onto the frozen image of the plasma shot barely missing Reeves' head. Beside him, Director Vivian Cross of Terran Intelligence folded her arms, her expression unreadable. The silence in the room was suffocating. No one spoke. No one moved. Then, Admiral Kane turned and spoke just one sentence. "Who do we burn?" It was not a question. It was a demand. A tactical officer cleared his throat and brought up a holographic display. A 3D rendering of the assassin appeared, zooming in on his distinctive dark armor. The markings on his suit were unmistakable. Selvar Dominion. The room tensed. The Selvar were a ruthless, warlike species known for their stealth operatives and brutal tactics. They had never openly opposed humanity. Until now. They didn't even bother to hide it, Cross said, her voice cold. They wanted us to know. Another officer spoke up. "Sir, we intercepted a transmission from the assassin's exit point before he disappeared." The words were clear. "Proceed with Protocol Omega." Kane narrowed his eyes. "What is Protocol Omega?" The officer swallowed. "We don't know yet, sir, but given the timing, it means they're planning something bigger," Cross finished. A heavy silence followed. The tension in the room thickened. The assassination attempt was just the beginning. Admiral Kane took a slow breath, then turned to the communication officer. "Patch me through to the Galactic Council. Open channel. Unrestricted." The message to the galaxy. Across the stars, every major species had their own intelligence networks. When the Terran Defense Command broadcasted an unrestricted transmission, every listening station, every hidden spy, and every leader in the galaxy tuned in immediately. Admiral Kane stood in front of a massive banner of the Terran Republic. His face was grim, his uniform pristine. The weight of humanity's response rested on his shoulders. He stared directly into the camera, his voice like iron and fire. An attempt was made on the life of our ambassador inside the Galactic Council itself. We have identified the attackers. We know who they are. We are not asking for permission. We are not waiting for apologies. His voice sharpened. You have one chance to explain. One chance to make this right. Otherwise, we will respond in the only language we know you understand. The feed cut off. Across the galaxy, the message sent shockwaves. Some alien leaders panicked. Others watched in morbid fascination. Because one truth was undeniable. Humanity had just issued a warning. And they never gave second warnings. The War Council. Back in Luna Base, the High Command had already begun preparing. Inside a secure war room, Reeves, Kane, and Cross stood around a massive star map. A dozen generals and strategists listened intently. That Selvar will deny involvement, Cross said. They'll pretend this was a rogue faction or an independent cell. But we know better. Kane scoffed. They think we'll hesitate. They think we'll be diplomatic. Reeves, who had barely spoken since the attack, finally lifted his gaze. Then let's show them how diplomacy works, the human way. He tapped the holographic map, and a new image appeared, a fleet movement simulation. Terran Battle Group Omega, one of humanity's most elite military strike forces. Move them to the Selvar border, Reeves said. Let's see how long they keep lying. Kane grinned, with pleasure. A galaxy on the edge. As humanity's fleet engines roared to life, the galaxy watched. Some species feared what was coming. Others waited in silence, eager to see what the humans were truly capable of. But the Xelvar? They had no idea what storm was about to hit them. And for the first time, the galaxy began to understand a terrifying truth. They had underestimated humanity, and now they would pay the price. The hunt begins. The Galactic Council was still in shock. The assassination attempt had sent ripples of fear and uncertainty across every major faction. But while alien leaders whispered in their chambers, hoping to delay and defuse the crisis, humanity had already moved to action. The Terran Defense Command did not believe in waiting. They did not believe in empty diplomacy. They believed in answers. And when answers were not given, they hunted for them. Tracking the assassin. Deep inside Luna Base Prime, hidden in a classified operations center, a team of intelligence specialists worked tirelessly. Massive holoscreens displayed real-time scans, heat signatures, and surveillance feeds from across the galactic capital. The assassin had vanished into the lower tunnels beneath the council chamber, a maze-like undercity where criminals and spies thrived. "We lost him after he exited through the drainage tunnels," an analyst reported. But he left a digital footprint. A set of encrypted coordinates appeared on the screen. Director Vivian Cross leaned in, her sharp green eyes scanning the data. "That's a remote sector, black market territory. If he's hiding anywhere, it's there." Across the room, Fleet Admiral Kane folded his arms. "Send in Ghost Team 7. Tell them to bring the assassin back, alive." The order was given. Within minutes, a black stealth ship launched from Luna Base, disappearing into the void. The hunt had begun. Ghost Team 7 deploys. Ghost Team 7 was humanity's most elite covert operations unit. These soldiers didn't just fight wars. They ended them before they even started. They had no uniforms, no names, and no official records. To the galaxy, they did not exist. Inside their stealth ship, the team leader, Commander Elias Voss, checked his weapon as the ship descended toward the underworld of the galactic capital. The mission was clear: find the assassin, extract information, and eliminate any obstacles. "Standard blackout protocols," Voss said as the ship's engines switched to silent mode. "No casualties unless necessary. We want him alive." His second-in-command, Lieutenant Mira Holt, gave a nod. "If we're lucky, he won't even see us coming." They were not lucky. The moment the team entered the underground city, they walked into an ambush. The ambush. The underworld of the galactic capital was a lawless zone where smugglers, mercenaries, and outcasts thrived. A place where the Xelvar Dominion had many allies. The moment Ghost Team 7 stepped into a dark industrial alleyway, the enemy struck. Laser fire erupted from the rooftops. Plasma bolts sizzled through the air, forcing the operatives into cover. "Multiple hostiles," Voss shouted. "They were waiting for us." Mira rolled behind a metal crate, returning fire with precision shots. One enemy dropped. Another ducked behind cover. Through the chaos, Voss spotted a figure slipping away. The assassin. "I see him. He's heading for the market district." The team moved, cutting down mercenaries as they pushed forward. The assassin was fast, jumping across rooftops, weaving through tight corridors. But Ghost Team 7 was faster. The chase through the market district. The streets of the market district were crowded. An alien bazaar full of merchants, exotic animals, and black market dealers. The assassin shoved past civilians, knocking over stalls and breaking through glass panels. Voss and Holt were right behind him, moving like shadows. "Target moving toward the west gate," Holt relayed. "Cut him off. I'll take the lower route," Voss ordered. They were closing in. Then the assassin made a mistake. He leaped onto a transport vehicle, trying to escape, but he was too slow. A single stun round from Holt's rifle hit him square in the back. The assassin collapsed, rolling onto the ground. Before he could recover, Voss was on him, a blade pressed to his throat. "Game over, friend," Voss said, breathing hard. "Now, let's have a little talk." The interrogation. Back aboard the stealth ship, the assassin sat in a dark interrogation chamber, his hands bound in energy cuffs. His armor had been removed, revealing pale gray skin and sharp reptilian features. A Selvar, no doubt about it. Commander Voss and Director Cross stood before him. The assassin remained silent, his glowing red eyes filled with defiance. Cross leaned forward. You already know how this ends, so let's make this easy. Who sent you? The assassin chuckled. You think you can intimidate me, human? The Dominion does not fear you. Voss smirked. You misunderstand. We're not trying to intimidate you. We're simply waiting. Waiting for what? Cross stepped aside, revealing a holographic timer, counting down from 10 seconds. For the decryption to finish, she said. The assassin's confidence faltered. The moment Ghost Team 7 had captured him, their tech specialists had begun hacking his communication device. They were about to expose everything. The timer hit 0. A distorted audio file played over the speakers. A voice, alien, but unmistakable in its authority, spoke one chilling sentence. Target elimination failed. Proceed with Protocol Omega. Voss and Cross exchanged glances. There it is, Voss said. Proof. Someone powerful ordered this hit. Cross turned back to the assassin, who now looked less confident. Now tell us what Protocol Omega is, she demanded. The assassin hesitated. Then, finally, he grinned. You're already too late. The room fell silent. Then, an alarm blared. A red warning flashed across the holoscreen. Incoming transmission. Emergency alert. A live video feed appeared, showing the human colony. Burning. Explosions. Panic. People running. Warships descending from the sky. Then came the final message. A deep alien voice echoed through the chamber. This is only the beginning. The war had begun. The truth revealed. The war has begun. The holographic display flickered as the horrifying images played out. Human cities burning, colonies under siege, and warships descending from the void like vultures. The room inside Luna Base Prime was deathly silent. Admiral Elias Kane, Director Vivian Cross, and Ambassador Daniel Reeves stood frozen, staring at the devastation on the screen. The Selvar Dominion had struck first. Humanity's worst fears had come true. But this was not just war. This was a message that said, we were never afraid of you. A message that said, you should have killed the assassin when you had the chance. And yet, the leaders of Earth were not broken. No, they were angry. Admiral Kane exhaled slowly, his face carved from stone. He turned to the captured assassin, still restrained in his chair, his gray skin slick with sweat. You were saying something about being too late, Kane said, his voice like steel. The assassin grinned despite his situation. You humans think you're powerful, but you don't understand the forces at play. The Dominion is merely the blade, the hand that wields it. You will never find it. Vivian Cross narrowed her eyes. Then let's cut off the hand and see who screams. She snapped her fingers. A nearby technician pulled up a decrypted file, extracted from the assassin's personal datapad. It contained classified orders, movement logs, and one crucial name. A name that sent shockwaves through the war room. High Chancellor Vorix of the Galactic Council. The betrayal at the highest level. Daniel Reeves, a man who had spent years building diplomatic relations, clenched his fists. Vorix, a powerful alien politician, a respected leader, the one who had advocated for humanity's place in the Council. And yet, he had been the one pulling the strings behind the assassination attempt. Reeves's jaw tightened. Why? What does he gain from this? The assassin chuckled. The same thing any cowardly politician gains from war, power. Kane slammed his fist on the table, rattling the entire room. Enough games. He leaned in, his voice low and dangerous. Tell me what Protocol Omega is. The assassin sighed, then smiled. It means total eradication, not of your people." He paused, letting the words sink in. "But of your reputation." A silence fell. The assassin continued, amused by their confusion. "You humans are feared, not because of your numbers, not because of your ships, but because you fight like no other species in the galaxy. You are monsters wrapped in flesh." Reeves and Cross exchanged glances. "And what does that have to do with Protocol Omega?" Cross demanded. The assassin's grin widened. "They are going to make you prove them right." Setting the trap. It hit Reeves instantly. "They want us to retaliate. They want us to burn entire worlds in revenge, because the moment we do, the Council can paint us as the greatest threat in the galaxy." The assassin nodded. "Exactly. Humanity will become the villain of every race in the universe. The Galactic Council won't have to fight you directly, because every other species will turn against you. And then, you will be hunted." The room was deadly quiet. Kane exhaled through his nose. So this was never about war. Reeves's voice was grim. No, this was about making sure humanity never became a power in the galaxy. Cross sighed, rubbing her temples. "We have two choices: do nothing and look weak, or strike back and become the enemy they want us to be." Kane folded his arms. "There's always a third option." He turned to the assassin. "Where is Vorix now?" The assassin hesitated. His red eyes darted to the side. Reeves leaned closer, his voice deadly. "Answer him, or I promise you, the humans they fear so much, you'll see why." The assassin swallowed hard. "Vorix is aboard his personal dreadnought. It's not on any public records. He's hidden in deep space. You'll never reach him." Kane grinned. "We'll see about that." The mission: find and eliminate Vorix. Back at the Terran High Command, battle plans were already in motion. The goal was simple: find Vorix. Expose his treachery to the entire Galactic Council. Ensure humanity was not the one blamed for the war. Ghost Team 7 had a new target. This time, it wasn't an assassin. It was the mastermind himself. And this time, there would be no escape. The last mistake the galaxy ever made. As Terran warships prepared for deployment, a single transmission was sent across the stars. A message from Ambassador Reeves himself, delivered directly to the Galactic Council. It contained everything: the assassination plot, the intercepted orders, the evidence that Vorix had orchestrated it all. And at the end of the message, Reeves said only one thing: "We are not the villains of this story. But if you push us, we will show you how it ends." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, leaders shivered at his words. Because deep down, they knew. The humans weren't bluffing. And if war came, the galaxy would never recover. The war begins. A galaxy on fire. The war had been inevitable. Humanity had tried peace. It had tried diplomacy. But the assassination attempt on Ambassador Daniel Reeves had proven that no matter how much Earth extended its hand, there were forces in the galaxy it would rather see humanity burn than see it rise. And now, the galaxy was burning instead. That Selvar Dominion's fleet, emboldened by their chancellor's hidden schemes, had already launched coordinated attacks on multiple human colonies. Cities were being reduced to rubble, and entire planets fell under siege. But unlike other species, humanity did not crumble under fire. They retaliated, and the galaxy was about to learn why that was the worst mistake they had ever made. The first counterattack. From the bridge of the TSF Retribution, one of humanity's deadliest warships, Fleet Admiral Elias Kane stood watching as the battle began. A vast Selvar fleet had engaged human forces over the planet New Dresden, a major human colony known for its military outposts. That Selvar had assumed that humanity would be on the defensive, retreating, trying to protect their worlds. They were wrong. The Terran war fleet did not defend. It hunted. Kane's voice was calm and deadly as he spoke to his fleet commanders. "Bring the hammer down." And the sky turned red. Human battleships opened fire in perfect synchronization, their railguns launching hypervelocity slugs that ripped through Selvar shields like paper. Swarms of Terran starfighters cut through enemy formations like a storm of steel, while long-range plasma lances melted through entire Selvar battlecruisers. The Selvar, known for their brutal and overwhelming tactics, were unprepared for the efficiency and precision of human warfare. They had started this war expecting a cornered animal. Instead, they had awoken a predator. The invasion of Selvar Prime. While the battle for New Dresden raged, a second Terran fleet, known as Battle Group Omega, had already begun its own mission. The assault on Selvar Prime itself. Led by Commander Mira Holt of Ghost Team 7, the mission was clear. Sabotage Selvar military infrastructure. Eliminate high-ranking Selvar warlords. Expose Voryx's betrayal. As the fleet approached the Selvar homeworld, the mission shifted into high-speed execution. Ghost Team 7 was deployed in stealth drop pods, piercing through the planet's upper atmosphere before slamming into the ground. The moment they landed, they'd vanished into the shadows. All right, team, we move fast. We move quiet. Target is the High Command Center in the capital. Holt's voice was steady. Her squad moved through the dark cityscape, avoiding patrols, disabling security systems, and planting charges along key supply routes. Then they reached their main target, a massive central command bunker deep in the heart of the Selvar capital. Inside, Selvar generals argued amongst themselves, their voices full of panic. The humans had moved too fast, retaliating with unrelenting force. They never saw Ghost Team 7 coming. By the time the alarm sounded, it was too late. The death of a warlord. Commander Holt and her team breached the war room, their weapons whispering death. Selvar guards fell before they even knew they were under attack. Then, standing at the center of the room, was their primary target, High Warlord Craven, the architect of the massacre on New Dresden. He reached for his weapon, but Holt was faster. She pressed a pistol to his skull. This is for New Dresden. A single shot. Craven collapsed. And with his death, the Selvar war machine was thrown into chaos. The fall of Voryx. While Ghost Team 7 dismantled the Selvar leadership, Daniel Reeves, Vivian Cross, and Admiral Kane were playing their own game. They had uncovered the true mastermind, High Chancellor Voryx, the one who had orchestrated the assassination attempt on Reeves to start this war. But Voryx had not expected humanity's speed. Before he could escape, a Terran dreadnought appeared from slit space, locking onto his private warship. The moment Voryx realized his mistake, it was already too late. A single boarded strike team, handpicked by Reeves himself, stormed the Chancellor's ship, capturing him alive. As he was dragged onto the Terran flagship, his yellow eyes burned with hatred. "You fools! You think killing me will end this war? Humanity is still doomed," he hissed. Reeves leaned down, his voice quiet but unshakable. "We're not going to kill you, Voryx. We're going to let the galaxy do that for us." Voryx's smug expression vanished, because he knew what was coming next. The broadcast that shook the galaxy. Humanity had been called the greatest threat in the universe. That Selvar had tried to paint them as monsters, as warmongers. But Reeves was about to turn the tables. A live broadcast was sent across every major network in the Galactic Council. It showed everything. The assassination attempt, the intercepted orders, the truth about Voryx's plan. Then, the final piece. High Chancellor Voryx, bound and humiliated, confessing his crimes under the weight of undeniable proof. The galaxy erupted in chaos. That Selvar dominion, once so arrogant and untouchable, was suddenly on the defensive. Other alien races, once hesitant, now turned against the Selvar, refusing to support a war built on lies. And just like that, humanity had won. The galaxy learns fear. The war did not last much longer. With their leadership shattered, the Selvar were forced to surrender. Their armies crippled, their fleets scattered. But what haunted the galaxy was not the speed of their defeat. It was the way humanity had done it. They had struck harder, faster, and more decisively than anyone had ever thought possible. And as Reeves delivered humanity's final warning to the Galactic Council, every alien leader felt a deep primal fear. We came to the stars in peace, but if you try to take that peace from us, his voice was quiet, we will take everything from you. Humanity's wrath. The silence after war. The war with the Selvar Dominion was over. Their fleets were shattered, their leaders executed or imprisoned, and their worlds lay in ruins. But the galaxy was not at peace, because now, every species that had once mocked humanity, every empire that had dismissed them as too young, too weak, too reckless, now they were afraid. The Terran fleet, once seen as a minor force in the galactic balance, now stood as a symbol of destruction and power. And as the dust settled, one terrifying truth spread across the stars. Humanity had changed, and they were never going back. The Selvar's final plea. On the shattered world of Selvar Prime, what remained of the Dominion's government gathered in a ruined citadel. The once mighty Selvar High Council, reptilian warlords who had ruled with arrogance and brutality, were now reduced to desperate survivors. And standing before them was Ambassador Daniel Reeves. He was no longer the man they had tried to assassinate, no longer the hopeful diplomat who had once believed in peace. Now he was the man who had destroyed them. The Selvar Chancellor, a frail and beaten elder, stepped forward, his voice trembling. Human, please. The war is over. Our people suffer. Our cities burn. We surrender. Reeves did not blink. You surrendered the moment you pulled the trigger on my life. You just didn't know it yet. The Selvar elders shrank back, because they could see it now, the cold fury behind his human eyes. What do you want? The Chancellor whispered. What will make this end? Reeves stepped forward, his voice soft and final. This will never end. You will live with the consequences of your arrogance for generations. You will kneel before the very species you try to erase. And if you ever, he leaned in, his voice like a blade, ever raise your weapons against humanity again, we won't stop at your armies. We won't stop at your cities. We will end your bloodline. Silence. Then, slowly, one by one, the Selvar High Council fell to their knees. They had tried to destroy humanity. Now, humanity owned them. The Galactic Council watches in fear. From the halls of the Galactic Council, alien diplomats watched as Earth forced the Selvar into submission. Some were horrified. Some whispered in secret, debating whether humanity should be stopped before it was too late. But none spoke aloud, because they had seen what happened to those who challenged Earth. They are monsters, the Meveran ambassador hissed in a private meeting. They fought a war in months that should have lasted years. They crushed an empire like it was nothing. The Drakari representative, a massive reptilian warlord, folded his claws. No, they are not monsters. He turned his gaze toward a holographic image of Earth's fleet, expanding faster than any empire had in recorded history. They are something worse. His yellow eyes gleamed with fear. They are efficient. Earth rises. While the galaxy debated and schemed, humanity moved forward. New warships were built, faster and stronger than before. New alliances were formed, not through peace, but through fear and respect. Lesser species, once bullied by greater empires, now flocked to Earth's banner, seeking protection. Because there was one undeniable truth: the humans did not lose. The humans did not break. They evolved. And now, they were unstoppable. A warning for the future. In the heart of Luna Base Prime, Admiral Kane and Director Cross stood in silence, watching a new fleet leave orbit. The war with the Selvar was over, but they both knew this was only the beginning. They're afraid of us now, Cross said, her voice unreadable. Kane nodded. Good. But fear makes people desperate. She turned to him. The other empires will never accept a dominant humanity. Kane smiled slightly. Then they'll learn the same lesson that Xelvar did. He looked out at the endless black of space, where Earth's flag now flew stronger than ever. The age of human weakness is over. Humanity's wrath. A galaxy on its knees. The war had ended. The Xelvar Dominion, once a mighty force feared across the stars, was nothing more than a broken empire, its fleets reduced to wreckage, its worlds in ruin. The Galactic Council, the so-called peacekeepers of the galaxy, had stood by and watched, hoping that humanity would falter, that Earth would break beneath the weight of war. But humanity did not break. It did not surrender, it did not retreat, and it did not forgive. The war had not destroyed Earth, it had forged it into something stronger. And now, the galaxy stood at a crossroads, because the humans were not stopping. The reconstruction of a broken enemy. On that Xelvar homeworld, where once proud towers had reached for the heavens, smoldering ruins stood in their place. The air was thick with ash and silence, broken only by the distant hum of Terran dropships descending from orbit. But they were not here as conquerors. They were here to remind the Xelvar of their place. Daniel Reeves, the same human diplomat that Xelvar had tried to murder, stood at the heart of their ruined capital. Surrounding him were the remnants of the Xelvar High Council, those who had begged for their lives after the war was lost. Reeves stepped forward, his expression unreadable. Rebuild. Pay for what you have done. And never forget who owns your future. The Xelvar Chancellor, his scales dull with defeat, lowered his head. And if we refuse, he dared to whisper. Reeves's voice was like ice. Then you will cease to exist. A shiver ran through the Xelvar Council. They had tried to erase humanity from the galactic stage. Now, humanity held their leashes. The Council's fear. From the luxurious halls of the Galactic Council, alien diplomats sat in uneasy silence. For years, they had mocked humanity, calling them young, reckless, naive. For years, they had kept them at arm's length, denying them a seat among the true powers of the galaxy. And now, they watched in horror as Earth's warships patrolled the stars, as the broken Xelvar knelt before the very species they had sought to destroy. The Mevaran ambassador, an elder with silvered feathers, spoke into the tense silence. We should have never underestimated them. A Drakari warlord slammed his clawed hand onto the table. We let this happen. We let the humans take the dominion, and now they are growing too powerful. Another ambassador, a nervous, amphibious being, croaked hesitantly. Perhaps, if we negotiate. The Drakari laughed bitterly. Negotiate. With the species that just dismantled the second most powerful empire in the galaxy. We will negotiate when they allow it. Not before. The silence returned. Because every single one of them knew the truth. They were no longer debating about how to control humanity. They were debating how long they had before humanity controlled them. A new galactic order. While the Council debated in fear, Earth moved forward. The Terran fleet expanded, its ships no longer patrolling just human space, but the territories of species who had once laughed at them. Humanity did not conquer. It did not enslave. But it made itself unignorable. They were everywhere now. Their fleets escorted trade convoys, their soldiers trained the weak, their agents whispered into the ears of rulers who once dismissed them. The galaxy thought humanity would break under war. Instead, they had created something unstoppable. The ghost of war. Deep inside Luna Base Prime, Admiral Kane and Director Cross stood before a holographic war map, watching as humanity's influence spread like a silent storm. They're afraid, Cross murmured. Kane smirked. They should be. She turned to him. You know what happens next. Yes. Kane's voice was cold. They will try to stop us. The moment they think we've grown too strong. Cross exhaled. And when they do. Kane watched the holographic projection of the galaxy, humanity's territories glowing brighter with every passing cycle. His answer was simple. Then we remind them why they were afraid in the first place. The final warning. Across the galaxy, rumors spread. Rumors of a new power rising. Rumors of a species that did not bow, did not forget, and did not forgive. In the darkest corners of the universe, the remaining enemies of Earth whispered in secret. They planned, they plotted. But they knew, deep in their cores, the age of human weakness was over. And soon, the galaxy would have to make a choice: to accept humanity as the rulers of a new order, or to fight them. And if they chose to fight, well, they already knew how that story ended. The final warning. A galaxy forever changed. The war was over. The Selvar Dominion lay in ruins. Once one of the most feared and aggressive species in the galaxy, they were now shadows of their former selves, reduced to nothing more than a client state under Terran oversight. The Galactic Council had failed to stop humanity. They had tried diplomacy. They had tried treachery. They had even allowed an assassination attempt on Earth's ambassador in their own chambers. And in return, humanity had responded with unmatched speed and brutal precision. They had not just won the war. They had rewritten the rules of galactic power. But now, something even more terrifying loomed over the galaxy. Because humanity was not leaving. They were staying. And for the first time, every species understood the truth. This was not just a victory. This was the beginning of an empire, the unveiling of the monument. At the heart of the Galactic Council, where once grand debates and power struggles had taken place, a new structure was being built. A monument. Not one of victory, nor one of conquest, but a warning. It stood at the center of the council plaza, carved from black Terran steel, towering above the symbols of every alien empire. It was a human soldier, standing tall, rifle in hand, his expression emotionless. Behind him, the flags of every Terran colony fluttered, an undeniable sign of Earth's new status in the galaxy. Beneath the statue, a single engraved plaque bore a message not in the universal trade language, not in the soft and poetic tongues of alien cultures, but in Terran Standard English. And it read, "We came in peace, but when peace was denied, we showed the price of war." The Galactic Council delegates watched in silence, some in anger, some in fear, as the monument was unveiled. Because it was not just a message to the Selvar. It was a message to all of them. The gathering of powers. Behind closed doors, inside the highest levels of galactic leadership, a secret meeting took place. A meeting between the most powerful alien rulers left standing. "This cannot continue," growled High Chancellor Mereth of the Drakari clans, her reptilian tail twitching with agitation. The humans grow stronger with each cycle. They are securing trade routes, expanding colonies, and worse, other species are beginning to side with them. A Mevaran ambassador, his feathers shifting in discomfort, sighed. "And what would you have us do, Mereth? We tried to stop them before. We tried to isolate them, to crush them in their infancy." The Drakari warlord slammed his claws on the table. "Then we try again. This time, we do not hesitate." Silence. Then, a voice spoke from the shadows. "You do not understand what you have unleashed." The room turned as an elderly Selvar stepped forward, one of the last remaining members of the Dominion's High Council. "You believe you can stop them now, after what they have done, after what they have become." His yellow eyes burned with something between hatred and deep, terrifying respect. They do not think like us. They do not wage war like us. You see them as a species that won a battle. But I tell you, they are something far worse. He let the words sink in before delivering his final warning. They are survivors, and survivors do not stop. They do not rest. They do not forget. His voice dropped to a whisper. "If you challenge them again, you will not survive." The room fell into a heavy, suffocating silence. Because deep down, they all knew he was right. A message to the stars. From the heart of Luna Base Prime, Ambassador Daniel Reeves stood before a galactic broadcast, his image projected to every known system. His speech was not boastful. It was not arrogant. It was calm, controlled, absolute. The war is over. Humanity did not start this conflict. We did not ask for it. But when it came, we did what we have always done. We endured. We fought. And we survived. He paused, letting the words sink in. We have been underestimated, lied to, and betrayed. And yet, we stand, stronger than before, wiser than before. His expression darkened. So let this be clear. We will not be erased. We will not be pushed aside. Humanity will no longer beg for a place in this galaxy. We will take it. He stepped forward, his final words searing themselves into history. Harm one of us, and we will remind you why Earth was once called the cradle of monsters. The transmission cut off. And across the galaxy, every empire, every warlord, every leader who had once dismissed humanity, shuddered. Final scene. The future of the galaxy. The camera pulls back, showing the vast Terran fleet, now larger than ever, stretching across space, their engines burning like vengeful stars. Across newly claimed territories, human colonies flourished, their people strong, unafraid, and determined. And in the depths of the universe, in the darkest corners of power, those who once sought to destroy Earth watched and waited. Some plotted in secret, waiting for the moment to strike. Others fled to the shadows, hoping to escape humanity's wrath. But one truth remained, one undeniable fact that no empire could ever forget. The galaxy had feared many things. It had feared war. It had feared extinction. But now it feared humanity, and it would fear them forever.